What's up, everybody? Damon here, and in today's gaming news, Tencent has updated its Horizon ripoff Steam page to make it look a little less Horizon-y. Starfield is getting closer to letting you fly everywhere, and the CEO of Take-Two promises BioShock 4 will really come out someday. This is your Daily Fix. Tencent has updated its Light of Motiram Steam page just days after Sony filed a lawsuit alleging the upcoming game was a slavish clone of Horizon. I allege that as well. The complaint, filed in a California court at the end of July, outlined numerous similarities, comparing various marketing screenshots from both games as well as their descriptions. As we explained at the time, just like Horizon, Light of Motiram takes place in a post-apocalyptic world overrun by giant robot dinosaurs who roam large, natural environments such as tropical forests, deserts, and snowy mountains. Both games even feature red-haired female protagonists that wear very similar outfits and devices similar to Aloy's Focus earpiece. Sony believes that these aren't accidental similarities either. Per Sony's complaint, Tencent allegedly began developing Light of Motiram in 2023 and approached Sony at the 2024 Game Developers Conference to ask for a licensing deal to develop its own Horizon game. Sony turned Tencent down, but Tencent seemingly continued developing Light of Motiram anyway. Sony claims it approached Tencent informally to resolve the copyright dispute once it became aware of the game, but when it did so, Tencent once again attempted to license Horizon. However, since the lawsuit went public, Light of Motiram's Steam page has been quietly updated, with a number of screenshots and trailers removed, and the cover image changed from the Aloy-like image you see here to this less contentious image. The description has changed too. Originally, it read, "In a world overrun by colossal machines, explore the vast open world, build your base of operations, advance technology, train mech animals, and take on formidable bosses. Starting from the primitive age, forge a new path of development. Defy the machination, survive with mech animals." Now, however, it says, "Make smart use of everything around you to stay alive and face off against formidable bosses. Every step is fraught with danger and requires courage. Only by overcoming the challenges of survival can you carve out a place for yourself in this unforgiving land." It's pretty generic and could be just about any non-sports video game. We can also see that the to-be-announced release window has been updated to Q4 2027. Whether this is enough to satisfy Sony's lawyers remains to be seen, not least because several uncanny similarities between the two games remain. Sony was originally suing for copyright and trademark infringement, as well as false designation of origin, and sought costs and damages of up to $150,000 for each separate work in which Horizon's copyright has been infringed. It also demands Tencent destroy all infringing material. IGN has asked both Tencent and Sony for comment. Moving on, remember Starfield? Launched to huge fanfare in 2023, Bethesda's big sci-fi hope landed to a mixed reception from players, who have since gone on to complain about the game's disappointing first expansion and lack of substantial ongoing support. However, one bright spot on the horizon appears to be signs of Bethesda finally adding the highly requested ability to travel in your spaceship from one planet to another, rather than what happens now as you use a loading screen to enter orbit, and from there load up another loading screen to get to where you're going. Fragments of code uncovered by Starfield fans now suggest Bethesda has a more streamlined experience in the works, though potentially still with some caveats. While you may be able to travel between planets within the same system, fans say it looks like you won't be able to fly all the way between systems. Oh, and you also won't be able to fly directly from a planet's surface into orbit like No Man's Sky. Oh well. References to the new offering, referred to in the game's mode as Cruise Mode, were detected by players this week and shared on Reddit, though Bethesda has reportedly now issued another small patch to scrub them from view. Earlier this month, it was reported that Starfield's second expansion and PlayStation 5 port will now arrive in 2026, so maybe this cruise mode will be added then. And finally today, BioShock 4 has reportedly been in development for more than a decade at various studios under the 2K Games banner. But it has suffered yet another overhaul after it apparently failed a recent review by executives and the head of its developer, Cloud Chamber, was ousted. Now, the fourth BioShock feels further away than ever. So what's going on? In an interview ahead of 2K parent company Take-Two reporting its latest 2025 quarterly earnings, we asked CEO Strauss Zelnick flat out if BioShock 4 was in danger of being canceled. Zelnick was clear in his response. "It's going to come out," he promised. "That I can say hand on heart without question." Zelnick sounds pretty confident then, but it's hard to get away from BioShock's tumultuous and lengthy development. On this, Zelnick held his hands up, admitting BioShock has had its troubles, but he also explained why it's proving such a hard nut to crack. Quote, "We've had some ups and downs along the way, that is accurate, and we've had changes in studio leadership. That said, we have very big shoes to fill on BioShock because of the legacy of Ken Levine, the legacy of what has gone before, which has been so successful. And we need to make sure that this experience is true to the BioShock DNA on the one hand, and a massive step forward on the other hand. That's always challenging. We think we're up to the challenge, but it has not been seamless. There hasn't been a new BioShock game since 2013's Infinite. Ken Levine is still working under the 2K banner on Judas. But BioShock 4 is not alone in having a lengthy development cycle, and we've seen very recently some publishers cancel games that were in development for 6, 7, or even 8 years. Sony's live service flop Concord, for example, was in the works for years before its disastrous release. Microsoft just canceled a slew of games that were announced years ago. It is clear from the outside looking in that AAA video game development is getting longer, and Western developers in particular are struggling to get games out the door. Zelnick continued, "The strategy of this company has always been to make the best entertainment, not necessarily the most entertainment. Of course, sometimes we've fallen short, but frankly a precious few times. And I think some of our competitors have realized maybe a little late in the day that consumers are not okay with okay." So, the long wait for BioShock 4 continues. And that is your Daily Fix for Friday, August 8th. Now's a great time to score some incredible games through Humble. Live now through September 2nd, grab Persona 5 Royal, Banisher's Ghost of New Eden, My Time at Sandrock, and more. Whether you're building your backlog or discovering something new, it's the perfect time to pick up these fan favorites. Plus, every purchase supports a good cause. Get a curated mix of PC games every month, all for just $14.99 a month. I'm Damon Hatfield, and for all your video game news, stay tuned to IGN.